For me, the violin goes back a long ways in my memory because as a very young boy, I remember watching Lawrence Welk. In the 50s, there was a violinist named Dick Kessner. So every Saturday night, Dick Kessner and his Stradivarius would be featured. And I just remember loving the sound. I liked the bow. I liked the shape of it. I just liked it. And in fourth grade started playing violin and haven't stopped since. When I was 12 years old, I joined the Columbia Record Club for a penny. With that, sending in that penny, you got to choose 5 or 6 LPs. One of the ones I chose was the Budapest String Quartet playing Beethoven's Opus 127. When Opus 127 arrived in the mail, I put it on the record player. And I'll never forget that first instant of hearing those E-flat major chords, because something inside just clicked. I can hear those chords right now. What I did is I went down to the Seattle Public Library and checked out the music to Opus 127, and I called up 3 friends and we got together, and I can remember right now giving the opening cue, and damn, it sounded like the record for about 1/10 of a second. But that's all I needed. That 1/10 of a second just did it. It was like this spark for me. It's why ever since then I've believed fully in the power of one note. The potential in any note is incredible. I got so much from that one note myself. I hope to be able to provide moments like that for other people. In 1973 was, the war in Vietnam was still not over. People my age, and many other people, older and younger, were really confused about what to do with themselves. I know I was. And on the radio in August of 1973, all of a sudden, totally unexpectedly, came this music. And what happened for me is that when I first heard Black Angels, it united 2 extremities in my musical life. On one side was the traditional string quartet music that I'd started to play when I was 12 years old. That world of Beethoven and Haydn and Mozart and Schubert. Then on the other side was this love of Jimi Hendrix. All of a sudden, in one piece, for that brief time, the whole world made sense. It felt real to me. It didn't feel like something that was being done hundreds of years ago in some little chamber in a castle or something like that. It felt like it was direct and somehow relating to what I was seeing on the news in the evening. The potency of that has remained with me because the human imagination is so rich. You can infinitely explore the world of music. One of the great pleasures in my life is getting to know incredibly creative people from every continent, many different cultures, lots of backgrounds and religions and traditions. The idea of ever kind of running out of ideas or getting tired or something like that, that's not even a possibility, really. For Kronos' first concert at MIM, I wanted to start with something I know is really going to sound good in that hall. From there, we're going to travel around the world a little bit. We're going to add a few instruments. How could we come to MIM and not add a few instruments? There'll be several electronic instruments. We will end up with one of MIM's newest instruments that has just been added to its collection. I was talking to Christina Linsenmeyer, and I said, you know, I'd really like to play this piece that we do with toy piano. Certainly you have a toy piano at MIM, right? And she looked a little bit flustered for a moment. She said, well, we don't have a toy piano. And I said, well, you need to have a toy piano. I mean, everybody needs a toy piano. Kronos has a bright red toy piano. We just don't have enough space in our luggage to bring it on this tour. So she got on the phone right at that moment and called the factory. And so now MIM has a bright red toy piano, a world-class addition to its collection, and we're going to get to use it tonight. I come away from a visit to MIM with a renewed optimism, a sense that the human imagination is really fertile and profoundly inventive, while recognizing that we all are living in a very troubled world with enormous problems. I think that with enormous effort, these problems might be able to be solved. And for me, MIM gives me that sense of hope. Just seeing the ways that various cultures and various creative forces within each of the cultures have imagined sound and imagined these beautiful instruments. That's one of the things you notice right away, is that all of the instruments, every one of them here, is beautiful. And so the idea that there's many ways to be beautiful is a very inspiring image, I think. It's like every one of these instruments is fantastically inventive and beautiful. All the ones I can see right in front of me here, every one of them is different. In a time when there's so much energy being put towards thinking there's only one or two ways that one should be, I think MIM is suggesting something very different than that. It's suggesting there's lots of possibilities. And that's what we need right now, is lots of energy, lots of ideas. That will take us towards the future, I believe.